What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Sports Medicine Broadcast, 131 Issues Female Athletic Trainers Face. This week, we have a couple of different guests. We have Sonia Gysland from the Pittsburgh Steelers. She's assistant athletic trainer with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have Dawn Stuckey, one of the associate athletic trainers at Rice University. And we have Christina Cope. She is an associate athletic trainer at Klein High School, and this was actually her idea after we talked to Robbie McFarland. This is one of her ideas, so I invited her to be one of the guests. We also have Dr. Josh Yellen from U of H. He's got lots of information about issues females face. And then we have Nicole Kasha, one of the Masters of Athletic Training students at U of H. I'm your host, Jeremy Jackson, sitting right beside me.
Shakira.
Jose.
Gabby.
Matthew.
All right, so we're a little bit out of order, but that's all right. So you can join our conversation on the sportsmedicinebroadcast.com using hashtag TheSMB. Bob's supposed to be on Twitter. He's not here right now, so hopefully Jose can do that too. We have quite a few people listening live. Can you read those names, Jose?
Jackie Gonzalez.
All right, Jackie.
Rob.
Mitch. David Young. Mickey Brown. All right. Nick Jones. Doc Hill. And then it's me, so we can see it there. All right. So thanks for listening live. Thanks for tuning in there. Just want to give those people a quick shout out. So Matthew, you're going to start us off with the questions.
Can you please tell us about yourself briefly and share your personal journey to get where you are now as an athletic trainer? And first, can we start with you, Sonia?
Sure. As Jeremy already mentioned, I'm with the Steelers. I've been with the Steelers for the past 4 years, serving as an assistant athletic trainer. There's 3 full-time athletic trainers with the Steelers. So there's my boss, the head athletic trainer, and then we have two assistants. And I came by way of, I can start with my school background. I went to Wisconsin for undergrad. I went through their athletic training education program. Followed that up with getting my master's in athletic training at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. And while I was there, I was assigned to work with football and men's and women's tennis. So I was starting to kind of experience, well, when I was at Wisconsin, I also had 2 semesters of working with football there as well. So when I was at UNC, I had the opportunity to do a summer internship with the Steelers during their preseason training camp. So I was able to kind of get a feel for what the NFL environment was like. But yeah, so that was in between my 2 years of grad school. Following grad school, I did an internship at Ohio State. I was helping out with a bunch of different teams, but my primary sport was men's gymnastics. And then following that year, I got my first full-time job working with Duke football as an assistant athletic trainer. And then after that is when the Steelers had a opening. So I was called to interview. But yeah, so that's kind of how I ended up here.
Hey, Sonia, this is Josh Yellen. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Sure.
What years were you at Chapel Hill?
07 to 09.
Okay. Does Quentin Sawyer ring a bell?
Yeah, yep.
What about Tony Trombetta?
I don't know Tony.
Yeah, but you know Q.
Yes.
Okay. Q and I worked together at Southeastern Louisiana University.
Oh, nice.
And Tony came out apprentices program before Q.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to start making some connections here.
Yep.
Thanks.
All right, Don, same question.
Hi there. Like Jeremy and them said, I'm at Rice University right now, and I've been there for 10 years. So I love Rice and the atmosphere that it brings. Before that, I was at, I played basketball in college, so I kind of took a different route. I started at a junior college in Kansas and played basketball and did some undergrad and associate's degree there. And then I went to Newman University in Wichita, Kansas, and played basketball and did athletic training at the same time and got my bachelor's degree in athletic training and biology. I double majored. And then I went to UT Tyler for my graduate degree, and while I was doing that, I was working at Tyler Junior College as a graduate assistant athletic trainer, and then I stayed on there a year later as a full-time assistant, and then I moved on to Rice University, and that's where I've been ever since. So,
all right, and Christina.
Like you said, I'm at Klein High School now. My journey actually kind of started in high school, when I was in high school. I played sports starting at a very young age, and then at a very young age, I was also very interested in medicine. And due to some injuries when I was young in high school, I couldn't do the sports that I wanted to do anymore. Kind of had a wrist surgery that took me out of everything. And the trainer at the Woodlands High School was amazingly helpful in my rehab, and I talked to her. She's still there now, Charlotte Laverne. I talked to her about letting me into the program, and she did, and I fell in love with it. And from there, I found different college programs and kind of toyed between like Tech and Baylor, and I got into the program at Baylor. And I went to Baylor and was in their sports medicine program and was an student athletic trainer for them for the football team and the girls soccer team. And then mostly more the football team, because by that point, all the people I came in with were all older than me. So they graduated, so I was kind of the oldest one there with the most experience. And then I thought about graduate and, being like a grad assistant and all, and then I looked at my student loans and I was like, eh. So after graduation, I just subbed for a year until I got a job at Klein High School, which happened to kind of fall into my lap a little bit by way of Charlotte Laverne helping me hear about it. And now this is my 10th year there, and I've been going strong ever since. I just kind of figured out really young what I wanted to do and went straight for it.
What year did you come out of Baylor?
04.
Lori Greenwood was the director.
She was just coming in. They were just switching from the internship to the academic, so I was on the bubble.
Got it.
All right, so for the most part, we're going to try and respond in the same fashion where Sonia and then Dawn and then Chrissy, just that way there's not everybody trying to talk over each other, but it'll happen in a conversation. And like I was telling, I've heard it, I can't remember the exact numbers, but guys will say, somewhere like 1,000 to 5,000 words a day, and girls will say like 25,000 words a day. So I'm expecting some overlap here in the conversation, but, All right, so let's get right to one of the comments from Kate, who runs the female AT problems, is that girls just really aren't as good as guys at this job, right? So that's kind of one of the first things. What she actually said was chauvinist, thinking I can't do my job as well as a male, but I just, So, Sonia, what are your thoughts? What are your responses to you're not as qualified, or you're not as good as a male?
I think that I'd be lying if I said that never occurred. You never ran across a male who may have had those viewpoints. But then again, we're kind of reading between the lines here, because do they actually come out and say that to your face? I mean, we rarely hear that, but there are undertones where, I may have gotten that feeling working in such a male-dominated sport in the past, where you run across certain individuals that you get that vibe from. And is really what I have to say to that is a lot of times they have that viewpoint because they've never seen a female be successful in a position around where they were. So, for example, in the football environment, there's not a ton of females in the higher levels in athletic training. Like you go to the D1 college football level or higher than that, you just don't see it as often. So that's where you may find those people more often. But once you're put in a position you can show that you can do the job, I think a lot of those people's opinions can change. When I worked at Duke football, I was the first female that ever worked on their football staff. And I think I did kind of get that feeling from a few people I may have encountered early on. But once I just kind of focused on doing my job and doing it to the best of my ability, I think those viewpoints kind of changed, and then they saw that, oh, actually they do a really good job, so really it just, I think you can just show by example that you can do it. I don't think it really has been an issue for me, because I've just gone about my job and, making sure that I'm helping people and giving them the best care possible. And in the end, that's what I'm there to do. And coming to the Steelers, there really wasn't any sort of issue with regard to this topic at all, just because I was coming into a situation where they're already used to having a female on staff. Ariko Iso had been the first female athletic trainer in the NFL with the Steelers for 9 years prior to when I came. So it was a seamless transition, and I really didn't face that at all.
Can I ask you a question, Sonia? Was there anybody that you had in place that was able to mentor you through that process? Or is this a road that you had to travel on your own and come up with some of your own answers?
No, the answer to your question is no, I didn't really have a mentor. I found that when I had my first exposure to working in the football environment as an undergrad student, there were a lot of other female students with me, so we were all kind of in it together. But I just found personally that I love the environment. I've never been much of a girly girl. Like, I like being around the action, and there's always so much going on. There's so many injuries. So I felt a sense of purpose, like being with football more than any other sport, because there was always something for me to do and to help out with. So because I found myself so comfortable in that environment, I just kind of gravitated towards more of those experiences. And because I enjoyed it so much, I think I felt comfortable in the environment. And that just kind of, it was like just a reciprocal relationship with like everybody is around. Because I was comfortable in the environment, they were comfortable with me in the environment. So then with that experience under my belt, I think working with football in grad school just kind of built off of my experiences in undergrad, and I continue to feel even more comfortable in that environment. So just from my kind of repetitive experiences in this environment, I think that allowed me to be even more successful, just because I had continued to get so much experience in the environment. So it wasn't like there was a person that kind of held my hand along the way. It was just like, I'm in it, and I felt comfortable doing everything. And I don't know, does that kind of answer your question?
I don't think there was any right or wrong, answer to that. I just, from a program director's perspective, we have a number of females in our program, and if you look at professional schools, whether that's AT school, PT school, OT school, medical school, law school, whatever it is, there are a number of the percentage of females to males is changing as compared to what it was 20 or 30 years ago, where you have a lot more females in these professional programs than you do males. And so from a perspective from where I sit, I want to know, what can I do to help facilitate people being successful in a field like athletic training? For me, it was a real, in my opinion, I had a real privilege in that when I first got into it, the first head athletic trainer I worked for, her name was Susan Houlihan, female. And then when I got into my AT program at Cal State Northridge, the head athletic trainer was Rhonda, and she was the first female head athletic trainer at Division I school in the state of California, and our program director was a female. And so along the way, I've been mentored by females, and I've seen this discrepancy, but like you said before, it's not anything that has really kind of come out overtly. I've heard it that, a female is not as qualified as a male, and I totally disagree with that. I don't think there's any merit to a conversation like that. A clinician is a clinician. Your knowledge is your knowledge, and your skills and your abilities are exactly that. Are there certain areas where I think that a female would relate better to a female athlete? Sure. As a male clinician, I've been in situations where I've treated female patients, and there are just certain things that a female patient is going to present to me that I just don't understand. I just don't. But my answer to that, without, getting into too much detail, was the first time I came across, a female is just not going to be as good as a male in this profession. Well, my answer to that was, they're a male gynecologist, aren't there? And, that pretty much ended the conversation. And so I think, from my perspective, I want to sit and listen, and I want to, learn from everybody in the room. How do we gain some more equality? How do we end some more, how do we end the discrepancy? How do we end the thought process? So I'm just listening, and I'll talk every once in a while.
Well, I think that everyone that knows me would consider me a direct, strong female. And I think that a lot of female athletic trainers in this profession are, just because they kind of have to be. But I think the most important thing that has gotten me to where I am today is my hard work and my work ethic. And I do everything the guys do. I'll carry coolers, I'll tape, I'll load the truck, I'll do whatever I need to do. And if we want to be considered equal, I don't think that we need to shy away from kind of stuff like that. Now, it's not a fun thing to do, but I think that if you work hard and you show up early and you show up on time, and you're there longer than everybody else or whatever, it's your work ethic that's going to get you further than if you're female or male. And I think overall that's going to show up in the end and throughout your career. So that's one thing that I've really instilled in in all of my coworkers, my students that I've had over the years. That's something that I pride myself on, is just working harder than anyone else I can, or just as hard. And I think that's gotten me a long way. So.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a male or female issue. I think that's a character issue.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And I